Today, we're jumping into a wild story. It's about stage magic, ancient wisdom, and a face-off with some of the darkest forces in modern history. We're talking about a man named Franz Bardon. His knowledge was apparently so powerful, so dangerous, that an entire empire wanted to either own it or wipe him off the face of the earth.
So that's the big question here, isn't it? Could a stage magician, a performer, really possess knowledge so potent it could shake an empire to its core? And not just that, but maybe even change the game for spiritual development? For all of us? It sounds like something out of a movie, but let's dive in.
Now, to really get who Franz Bardon was, you have to understand we're not just talking about one guy. The story goes that he was the last link in this incredible chain of wisdom, a chain that stretches all the way back to the very beginnings of recorded history.
It all goes back to this core idea from an ancient philosophy called hermetics. The whole thing is summed up in this one phrase: that which is above is also that which is below. It's this simple but mind-blowing idea that the huge universe out there and the little universe inside of you, they're reflections of each other. They work on the same principles. And if you get that, really get that, it unlocks everything else we're about to talk about.
Okay, and this is where the story gets, pretty wild. The claim is that the same spirit, the same conscious being, lived through each of these legendary figures, each lifetime a different mission. You're talking about a direct line from Hermes Trismegistus in ancient Egypt through Nostradamus, all the way down to our guy, Franz Bardon, in the 20th century. It's a huge claim, for sure.
So who was this guy, this final link? Well, on the surface, Franz Bardon was just a regular dude, a mechanic living in what's now the Czech Republic. But he had this whole other life as a stage magician. He went by the name Bardon, which is just a mashup of his name and where he was from. The thing is, his stage act, it wasn't just smoke and mirrors. There was something very real going on behind the curtain.
And that hidden knowledge, it was about to put him on a collision course with probably the most evil power of the 20th century, the Third Reich. And this is where things get incredibly dark.
It's pretty well documented that the Nazi high command, including Hitler, was way into the occult. We're talking about secret societies like the Thulio Order. The source we're looking at says he was even part of this network of 99 secret magical lodges. So when they heard about Bardon and realized his power was the real deal, what do you think they did? They tried to recruit him. They wanted to use his abilities to help them win the war.
Bardon said no, flat out refused. And the price he paid for that refusal was just horrific. He was thrown into a concentration camp for 3.5 years. The tortures he endured were unspeakable. They even sentenced him to death. The only reason he survived is because, literally moments before they were going to execute him, a bomb hit the prison and he managed to escape in the chaos.
And if you can believe it, the Nazis weren't even his only problem. His magical abilities had also put him on the radar of another group, a powerful secret society of black magicians called the FOGC Lodge. They saw him as a threat, and they decided they needed to take him out. But they weren't going to use guns or bombs. They were going to use magic.
So this lodge apparently had this secret weapon called a tepaphone. Think of it like a magical death ray. The way it worked was pretty spooky. They'd get a picture of their target, in this case Bardon. They'd attach it to this device, form a magic circle to power it up, and then zap. It would send out these fatal vibrations aimed right at the person's heart, no matter where they were in the world.
But here's the thing about Bardon. He was on a completely different level. He actually saw the whole attack coming. Clairvoyantly, he watched them perform their entire ritual from miles away. And as that deadly energy wave hit him, what did he do? He just calmly redirected it into a glass of water sitting on his table. Can you imagine the lodge? They thought they'd succeeded, they'd killed him. And then they pick up the newspaper the next day and see that Bardon's shows are still sold out. They must have been freaking out.
So, surviving the Nazis, surviving magical assassins, this wasn't just a series of lucky breaks. According to the story, these trials were all part of something much, much bigger, a purpose that would shape everything he did for the rest of his life.
See, Bardon was apparently part of this spiritual group called the Brothers of Light. And after he got through all this, all the torture and the attacks, he was given a new mission by one of the masters. The mission was huge. Take the sacred teachings of hermetics, the stuff that had been kept secret for thousands of years, and release it to the world, make it public for the very first time.
But why now? Why after all these centuries? Well, the story goes that the decision came from the highest level, from divine providence. Apparently, for ages, souls in the afterlife had been complaining, saying, hey, it's not fair. The real path to spiritual growth was always hidden from us on earth. only available to secret societies. So Bardon's job was to blow the doors open on all that, to end the secrecy and publish a roadmap that anyone with a sincere heart could follow.
And that's exactly what he did. This mission led him to write a series of books, and his most famous one lays out his entire system. This was him fulfilling that big purpose we were talking about.
Now, this is super important to understand. His most famous book, Initiation into Hermetics, it's not a book full of spells to get rich or famous. Not at all. It's a step-by-step training manual for developing yourself, for achieving complete self-mastery. And all those amazing powers, the things we call magic, they're just side effects. They're byproducts of the real work, not the goal.
So, how does it work? The whole system is built on 3 pillars that you have to train all at once, in balance: your mind, your soul, and your physical body. You start with the absolute basics, stuff like learning to control your own thoughts and really getting to know yourself through introspection. And from there, you just systematically build on that foundation.
And what's the end game? What are you working towards? It's something Bardon called magical equilibrium. It's the state of perfect balance between the 4 classical elements: fire, water, air, and earth, but inside of you, in your body, your soul, and your spirit. The idea is, if you can master those forces within yourself, you become the true master of your own life, of your own fate.
Okay, so this is all fascinating history, but what does it mean for us, right here, right now? Well, the path he lays out is definitely not easy. It's demanding, but the rewards it promises are incredibly practical and profound. Let's forget all the magic stuff for a second. Look at what this training is said to offer: a stronger will, a better memory, being more resistant to negativity from other people, a more noble, balanced character, better health, more energy. You're literally cleaning up your own mental and emotional energy. It's really about becoming the master of your fate from the inside out.
And Bardon hammers this point home again and again. This isn't about power for power's sake. It's not for selfish reasons or to show off. The whole point is to use this self-mastery for the good of everyone, to do noble things, to make the world a better place.
So that leaves us with a pretty big idea to chew on. This ancient wisdom, this path to mastering ourselves, was brought out into the open in our modern era for a reason. The suggestion is that maybe, just maybe, now is the time for us to remember this stuff, to start regaining full use of our own minds and bodies. And that leaves just one last question, a question for you. What could you actually achieve